Hey folks, today I've got another kind of interesting revolver for you today. This is a little tiny thing. It's our cut down Snubnose 44 1860 brought to us by Pietta. Let's go check it out. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this gun. As you can see, if you know anything about cap and ball pistols, it's basically an 1860 Army that's been cut down to about a 3-inch barrel. And of course that necessitates removing the ramrod assembly, so we have basically just an empty ramrod slot, and of course there's no cut here for the rammer to push through. Of course they've also replaced the standard 60 Army grip with this nice checkered bird's head grip, and that's got blued back straps all the way around, unlike the typical 1860 Army. But it's a very nice, very ergonomic grip, especially shooting, full power 44s out of this little short barreled pistol. They've also kept kind of the stock cuts and the little lug screws that are present on the standard 1860. Let's do a quick comparison. Here's the standard. This is also a Pietta, right? So same brand and everything. As you can see with the standard one, you've got the kind of long 1860 grip, which is quite a bit bigger than the bird's head. We've got a brass front strap, and I guess they changed the cylinder as well, so you have kind of this half-fluted cylinder here, and here you have this typical engraved Colt one. And as I showed you, that cut's missing on the ramrod assembly, because of course you don't need that. So what do we do without a ramrod? How do we load this gun? Well, Pietta supplies this little brass tool, and it's got a cut in the bottom for pressing in round balls and stuff, and you can hammer that in. So what you would do to load this is line up a chamber, right? So you would put your powder and ball in there, line up a chamber as you would with any other cap and ball, where you might put in the ramrod, or the rammer, I guess. I keep calling it that. But instead of that, you would insert this brass piece, and it would sit on top of the ball, and you would just tap it into place. You're kind of holding it up, and you put your tool in there, and you just would tap it in with a hammer. Let me tell you, you might as well forget about this. It can be done. Of course, you can load it this way, but man, it is not fun, and I'll show you that. Here I was loading it with paper cartridges, and I found that I actually had to remove the barrel, as you see here, to actually get them to insert and fit in the gun, and then just replace the barrel again, put the rammer on, and start hammering. So every chamber that I loaded, I had to do this little process. And you can see sometimes it bounces out on you. Really not the most convenient way to load these things. So the takeaway from that, of course, is load this gun on a loading press, right, off the gun. There's no reason to sit and do this to yourself and hammer this little tool up for 6 chambers all the way around. You'll be at the range all day and you won't be doing much shooting. That being said, this is a typical Colt. It comes apart just like the 1860, or really any of them. You pop the wedge out, pull the barrel, put the hammer on the half cock that you already have, and you can just pull the cylinder straight off. We've got the typical arbor assembly, and all the internals, of course, are 100% standard Colt revolver. So there's not really any changes other than the grip assembly and the cylinder, and of course cutting the barrel down. Other than that, it's almost exactly like a standard 1860. What's interesting is this thing might actually make a decent little pocket pistol, because there's the 1849 pocket, and you can see they're almost the same size. But the big advantage, of course, in this one is that you have a 44 caliber, so quite a lot more power coming out of it, as opposed to the little 31 here. Of course, you're losing quite a bit of velocity and powder burn and stuff because of that short barrel, but you're still getting a lot more power than you would out of the 31. Plus, this is a 6-shot, and this is only a 5-shot. Now, obviously, of course, this version is a fantasy gun. Pietta likes to make fantasy guns. They've got a whole lineup of little snubbies like this, and like a pepper box 1851, and all kinds of things that never existed back in the 19th century, but that never stopped us before, right? So let's go take it to the range and shoot it. First few shots here are the Johnson & Dow conical paper cartridge, as you see here. At this point, I had a cap jam that I had to clear. And on this cylinder, we're running round ball paper cartridges instead of the conicals. Alright, let's see how we did here. I started off at 15 yards with the round balls out of the little snubby, so this is our 15-yard group, if you want to call it that. There's 1 here, 2, 3, and 4 all the way down here in this corner, and I have no idea where the other 2 hit, and I was aiming at this blue tape, so it's possible that, given the kind of high distro of the group, we might have more hits above the target. Then again, you've got this one all the way down here, so who knows? It seems that the spread was pretty high at 15 yards, and that's with a 30 grain charge under a round ball. So really not too impressive. Next, I tried conicals at the 15. We're going to go ahead and ignore most of these holes and just look at this one in the top corner. That's the only hit I have out of the Johnson & Dow conicals at 15 yards, and that's a 25 grain charge if memory serves. So I moved a little closer to 7 yards, and that's the group that you see here in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 hits kind of up and down the center line here at 7 yards with the conicals out of that gun. So that's quite a bit better than at 15, right? At least we're on paper. Next, I moved over to round balls at the 7-yard line, and that's where this gun really shines. You can see most of the hits are in the black, 1, 2, 3. 4th one hits the edge of the black, and then 5, 6. So pretty, very acceptable kind of hand-sized group at the 7-yard line. And again, I think that's a 30 grain charge with the round balls out of this gun. So that's what we want. We want round balls out of this one. Doesn't seem to like conicals all that much, and obviously it's a close-in only type of gun. Let me do a quick comparison to the 1849 Pocket. I also shot that one at 15 yards, and this is the type of group that we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're high and to the right, but all the shots, all 5 of them, are hitting the paper with conical bullets at 15 yards. So where the 1849, 31 might lack in some power compared to the 44, theoretically, it shines or greatly outperforms the 44 in terms of accuracy at the same distances. Because again, we only had 1 hit from conicals at 15, and we had 4 hits from round balls at 15, although those are way more spread out than with our 1849, where they're all kind of up in this corner. So again, the 44 Snubby is obviously a close-in gun, and in terms of accuracy, or at least for me, the Pocket model beats it. So I hope you enjoyed this pretty short review of the Pietta 1860 Snubnose. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. There'll be lots more of these videos coming, lots of Captain Ball revolvers and black powder in general. And if you'd like, I have a store at surly'spossibles.com, or also on eBay and Etsy, where I sell paper cartridge boxes and a number of kind of kit items and stuff to make your own paper cartridges and help you load your pistols and have a lot more fun at the range. So if you're interested in anything like that, be sure and check me out there. Links down in the description. Okay, that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.